So hello and welcome back, beautiful people. Today's word is gestures, and I was just starting off with a question, and the question was all about the basics of my sketch. Basically, how I don't really understand your basic minimal sketch that sometimes you do on a very difficult drawing. I love your drawings, but I don't understand the basic sketch. So I'm just going to run through it very, very quickly. Today's gesture, so I will be doing a standing leg and a body, and then I'll be doing a bending leg, which is another C shape, and then a big C shape like that, which will be the hands. And that will be the basic shape that I will be drawing and working on. If I got a complex drawing like today's drawing, that's how I will start it off. So when you see me drawing today, that's the basic plan that I will be working on in this drawing. Okay, so the basic sketch, if you think about the head would be kind of like there, so you could draw a big kind of bean shape there, and that will be your man dancing. And already you can see the importance of those very visualized pose lines, because that will build up everything and give you enough freedom then to draw crazy. So if you're into today's drawing, let's get into it. Okay, get your pen, get your paper, get your paint, whatever you need. Let's do some drawing. Okay, so I've given all my secrets away now. You know everything about what's happening today. You know all the tricks. So you should be able to draw something pretty incredible today. Just before we start, I have to do a quick promotion for my books, The Little China. It's a comic book. The Brainiest Combustibles is kind of like short kind of poem stories. There's a couple of volumes of it. Cat, the Colourful Cat, who's a bit naughty. There's a couple of volumes of that. And of course, we have the Worry Lips collection. So if you are interested, please do pop on over and spend all your hard-earned cash on me. What more can you want? Right, so I'm going to get into today's drawing, and today's drawing is gestures. And I'm going to start off with a nice big kind of gestural kind of splash. Oh, that's quite light. What have I done? Why is it so light? Okay. Even that was quite light, wasn't it? So there we are. That's the first line that I did on the intro, and that's a basic kind of pattern. Sometimes when I'm drawing, I do. If I get something very, very complicated, you might see me just flicking down a few lines, and that is basically because sometimes drawings can be quite complicated. And this was the big C shape as well for the head, and it is a basic explanation for you on what's happening in some of these drawings. And I will keep this one quite simple. It was based on the word today is gestures, but I've seen a lot of this kind of Limp Bizkit all over touring the UK, and it kind of gave me this kind of this kind of idea for this kind of guy that's kind of doing these kind of rap poses, doing this type of thing. And I thought it would be a lovely idea to kind of get it into one of today's drawings. And also a great way to answer that question of sometimes I do these little basic sketches, and I didn't really feel like it was needed to explain it, but I'm glad that I did. Sometimes, when I see people doing their pre-sketch, and the pre-sketch is so detailed, I don't know how you have fun. I don't know how you have fun after when you've drawn everything out. So So I do my sketching in a little bit looser, so it gives me this kind of freedom to kind of enjoy the drawing. And I do quite often kind of say about enjoying that drawing, enjoying that pose. Ooh, a dancing pen. Give him a little kind of tiny goatee boat. I wasn't really I'd never really heard of. I'd heard the name Limp Bizkit, but they're all over the internet at the moment. They're all over everywhere, TikTok, and they're apparently they're touring the UK. And I do love the way that the guitarist Wes Borland, the way he kind of draws things up, and he kind of is like a stage show in himself. It's like he's got all these kind of costumes and masks and everything. Pretty fantastic. I was really impressed by his getup, and obviously then that sent me into checking out some of their older stuff, and pretty damn incredible the way he dresses up in this costume, and still can play guitar like that, you know. So here comes our second C shape. And that's coming all the way through the head and round. And you'll see that on the pre-sketch before. And this will be a kind of a special for my Funky Doodler fans. My Funky Doodlers who are drawing along with me and getting some of these kind of helpful tips. I hope they're helpful tips for you. But I love the way that one of the great things about the internet is it does constantly give you this this intro to bands, an intro to artists, an intro to whatever. I do love the way that, you know, you can wake up in the morning and have a flick through what's happening in the world, and then you find a band that you'd never heard of or whatever. In this case it was a new band I'd never heard of, and I'm sure, you know, they've been around for years and everything, but it was great to see some of the styles from the guitarist. I love the way he does all these masks and paints his body and stuff like that. It was pretty incredible. And it's always nice to kind of see other people's artwork, their other, you know. I do kind of take a little bit of time to go out and thank other artists for being themselves, you know. I'm on a lot of drawing groups, art groups, and I do like to go on and say, I like that, well done, you know, that's incredible what you've done there. And there is a lot of incredible people out there. And today's just a little drawing. It's just a little off-cut of paper. And it was nice just to kind of use it up for a nice little sketchy morning. Let's give him some kind of pattern on his clothing, just to kind of add to the whole kind of spice of it. And as you see, I'm trying to follow the guide of that line to the point that I might even make that line a little bit longer, just for the simple fact that I want to get that. I talked about that other C shape there, which is going to be that other leg. Let's give him a funky doodler t-shirt, shall we? There's Mr. Muro. Yeah, a rapper with a funky doodler t-shirt. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And yes, you can go and get yourself a funky doodler t-shirt over on my shop. Yes, you can. Here we are. And it's nice sometimes to do these quick sketches. It's nice to kind of let your mind kind of roll. You know, like I was showing you at the beginning there, it's about the very basic sketch, the very basic finding the main point of action. In this case, the main point of action was that curve there. And again, that curve there with the leg coming up. And as you can see, it's very, very, very close to that. And it is a quick sketch today. It is a very quick video. But I really just wanted to show you from the sketch that I did earlier. From that, as you can see, they're pretty much the same shape. You see that? So there's a little kind of quick lesson there about finding the shape, discovering that shape, enjoying the simplicity of your drawing. And I do find that it really does help sometimes by simplifying things down. So a very, very quick drawing today, just to answer the questions of my basic sketch lines and how to use them, and I hope that really does help. I think I've explained it as basic as I can possibly do, with the diagram also there, so I'll give you a lot of clear information about, and that's something that you will find animators do a lot. They will find the line of action for a pose, and if it's a punch pose, you'll have that leaning C shape there, the leaning punch or whatever. So that was the kind of Limp Bizkit pose. And I think it basically works. And it can work in lots of dance poses or sports poses. In fact, sports poses would probably be even better, probably. The simple fact that sometimes you're trying to draw that boy kicking a football or something like that. You've got that lovely... You can see when they're going through and they're choosing their photographs, they will choose something that has got that perfect kind of C-shape action. and I'm pretty happy with that. Let's get a nice kind of little quick framing in around it. There's a strange bird at the back. I don't know if you can hear it. It's going almost like somebody's bed alarm clock. And this is just framing it up as a nice kind of dance pose. And I think that works good. It's a very clear word for today's drawing. On gestures was today's word on the Draw Everyday Club on Facebook, and it's quite pleased with that. We could get very tempted to go in and do a little bit of color around it, just to kind of bring out the actual pose a little bit clearer. I do rather love painting up with my finger. I'm a big lover of doing that, and it does really help a lot. And there is today's simple, quick little sketch and an explanation of the basic sketch, the basic lines of action in your drawing. And I hope that helped. I hope it did. And if it did, send me a comment, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. See you again soon. Bye-bye.